my YouTube channel. First of all, I would like to congratulate everyone to be in this position to apply for the British Naturalisation. I know it's not a very easy task to be at this point. It takes a lot of years and hard work to be at this situation to apply for the naturalization to become a British citizen. There are different eligibility criteria and there are different routes to become a naturalization, but this video will cover the process for most of the applications in terms of documents required and the fees, and also covering the appointment structure, the processing time, and the results where you get from the Home Office whether your application is successful or not. So before jumping into the video, I would like to let you know a quick disclaimer. I'm not an immigration lawyer, or I'm not an immigration advisor. I'm just telling you my experience and on my research on how to apply the naturalization. So this video will be very helpful for you guys to come up to speed, and then also in preparing your documents for the naturalization. I would like to have this video very simple, so I made a presentation which I can walk you through, which will be very useful for you when you make an application. First of all, this is what we're going to see today of the documents required, and then how much we are going to pay the fees, and then where we're going to book the appointment. There's a website for that. I'm going to show you the website, the processing time, how long it's going to take for the whole application, where you pay the fees and until you get the results at the processing time, also the letter notification from the Home Office. So in terms of the documents required in the application, so you need 2 passport size photographs, which is the UK standard passport size. You can either get this from the photo booths in the public places or in the post office, which works perfectly fine. And then you also need to provide your current and any expired passports from your home country since entering the UK. Even if it's more than 1 or 2, you need to provide all the passports to the Home Office in this case. Also, you need to provide the biometric residence permit card, which is provided by the Home Office while you're living in the UK for your visa, or in terms of the European citizens, it's the EEA permanent residence card. And then in order to naturalize, it's been a clear requirement from the Home Office that we need to have the Life in the UK test. We need to get the certificate. So you need to have the exam and then get the certificate before making the application. So if you want me to show where you can book this test, I can walk you through. So there's a website called Life in the UK test. So under the gov.uk, where you need to pay £50 to sit in the exam, and then you need to be book the test 3 days in advance. It costs you 50 quid, and then there are over 30 test centers in the UK. You can book which one is very closer to you. As you can see in the website, you need to provide your email address, your debit or credit card to pay the fees, and the accepted form of IDs. There are IDs mentioned below. It can be your passport, your travel document with a photo, or your biometric residence card, which works perfectly fine as it's a government document as well. In total, the test would be 45 minutes. Where you need to answer 24 questions. So the good thing about this is they have also given you an official handbook where you can prepare for the test, which is very useful, where you don't have to go and download a bunch of things, which is really time consuming. So I completely followed this. It worked perfectly fine for me. I spent like 3 to 4 days reading this official handbook, and then I made it through very easily. So it was very straightforward. So I wish you guys all the best to do this. So going back to the video, and then you need to provide your UK degree certificate or evidence that you've passed the English language test. So this is a requirement where Home Office requires an English language test. So if you have done your degree in the UK, that's perfectly fine. You can provide your document which will be eligible for this requirement. If not, you could have done your bachelor's in English in your home country. So you can either provide the certificate, but in order to provide that your certificate from your home country, you need to provide with the you.The certificate. So let's say if your degree was taught not in the UK, but it was taught in English, however, in a different country. So we will need to, the applicant need to obtain a UK certificate, which means we are telling the Home Office that it's equivalent to the UK bachelor's degree that was taught in English, basically in your home country. So where would you apply for that? Here's the website. It's called naric.org.uk, where you got to pay fees, and then they'll be requiring a list of documents from your home country where you did your bachelor's in English, and then you can apply online, and usually it takes a week or two to get your documents. So if you haven't got your degree in the UK, it's better you start thinking about applying for the UK certificate, which requires for the application actually. The evidence of accommodation in the UK. So if you're living in your own property, you need to provide your land registry details or if you're renting a home, you need to provide a tenancy agreement to show UK that you've been living in the UK for a regular period of time. Making sure that you're legally living in the UK. You should also provide the Excel sheet confirming that the applicant have been absent from the UK in the last 5 years. So basically what they're saying is, so they need a list of days where you've been out of UK. So there is a eligibility criteria before making the application that the applicant also need to show the Home Office that they have not spent outside UK more than 450 days in the last 5 years, or 90 days in the last 12 months. So you could have been on a business trip, or you could have been on a holiday, but you need to make sure that it doesn't go over this limit, or your application might be rejected. There are some circumstances your application might be considered by Home Office, but then you need to provide a proper explanation, or in case of any emergency. So probably you need to provide that. So when you date the list or list the number of days spending outside the UK, so how you need to do is you can see your passport, and then your passport will have all the stamps where you've or your flight tickets. You might have your own data of you traveling for the last 5 years. So you need to provide that as a part of your application. I will show you my Excel sheet which I prepared for my application to show my absence in the UK for the last 5 years. This sheet will give you a quick summary of how to get your holidays filled. So I've got 5 columns here: date I left the UK, date I returned to the UK, the country I visited in that specific time period, and then the reason of travel if it's a business or holiday. Then the last column is the number of days which I spent during the time period. If you see the third row here, I've left the UK on 9th of October, and then I've returned to the UK on 13th of October. So to calculate the number of days, you don't need to take the date you left the UK, which is 9th of October, and then the date you returned to the UK, which is 13th of October. So in between is 10th, 11th and 12th, which is 3 days. That's how I'll calculate the number of days here. I've also mentioned the list where it has last 5 years and also the last 1 year. So I've also entered the total number of days for the last 5 years and last 1 year, which is well below the Home Office requirement. So once you fill the sheet, you can upload the sheet into the portal, and you'll be also getting a official checklist where you need to submit all the documents I'm telling you in this video. But if you want to upload any additional documents, there'll be a other section where you can upload your additional documents. They also require your bank statement for the last 3 months, evidencing your salary, or running your own business. They want to see your savings money withholding within your bank statements. The Home Office also requires the P60 of your last 5 years. If you're working as an employer, you would get this from your current employer, or you can also require HMRC to provide the last 5 years P60. If you're running your own business, then you need to obviously submit your self-assessment tax returns for the last 5 years. They also want to know whether you have resided in the UK for the last 5 years. So you need to provide 1 or 2 documents on the last 12-month period, just to make sure that you have resided in the UK. And the documents you can include is, it can be your annual mortgage statement if you have your own property, or it can be your own bank statement where it does have your living address. And then they also accept letters from the government departments such as DVLA, your driving license, and then your TV licensing, your council tax bills, utility bills, your telephone mobile bills, and then also from letters from the doctors where you see the NHS, and then your dentist as well. So any two of these documents would suffice for the last 12 months period. So I'm sure if you have lived in the UK for the last 5 years, you have all these documents with no problem. So then this is one of the main thing where many people have a lot of questions regarding the reference forms. So Home Office, since you're making the application for the naturalization and to become a British citizen, they want to verify your good character, and then they want to know whether you have good friends and colleagues, or your family, what kind of relationship you have in the UK. So the Home Office requires 2 referees to support your application. So there's basically a form where they need to fill the application and then sign the photograph of yours, so that to make sure that they know you in person, and they're happy to sign for you as a referee. There's a document which I can show you. Here's the document where it shows the referee and identity. So it can be downloaded from the official website. So this is a photograph where the applicant's photograph needs to be glued there, and then at the back of the photograph the referee should write your name, just to make sure that he know you in person. So and he needs to sign as well. So this is the first declaration form, and then the second declaration form, which is very similar to this one. So there is also a specific requirement for the referees. One referee should be a British citizen and over 25 years, and then the other referee should be from a specific profession listed on the Home Office website. They can be accountant, or they can be chemist. So there are a lot of professions which comes under the Home Office website, and they can from any country. So there are specific requirements regarding the references. I would strongly recommend you to get onto the Home Office website before getting the form signed. And then now we are coming to the cost structure, where how much we are going to pay for your application. The current fees for the Home Office application is £1,330, but this may vary in the future. And then 1920 to pay for the biometric application, and then for the Life in the UK test, as I told you before, it's going to be £50. In order to make the application, you need to go to this specific site where you will be paying your fees. So this is called ukvcas.co.uk. This is the official website recommended by the Home Office to make your own login, and then also you need to prepare your documents and then upload your documents. Portal is very user friendly. It takes the documents without any trouble, so you just have to scan the documents, and then if you upload the documents, it works perfectly fine. Also, while paying the application, there is a SMS service where you just have to pay £1.50, which is highly recommended, because you get every step of your application. You'll be getting a notification in your phone by receiving a text message. So I highly recommend using this service, which is really helpful for me. I see a lot of people asking questions in the forum. Do we need to upload the documents before the appointment? Not necessarily. They can pay the fees and book the appointment, and we have time to upload the documents 2 days before the appointment. So you completed your payment in the portal. This is the appointment confirmation letter confirming your date of the appointment and the time of the appointment with your address where you need to go to the appointment. I would recommend you to go 15 minutes before the appointment, as there will be a complete security check before going to the scanning center. So going back to the process, once you have the documents ready, you can book the appointment and then pay the fees. You can upload documents, as I told you, a couple of days before the appointment. So on the appointment date, it's very important that you take all the originals with you, even though the Home Office website says that you can take originals or photocopies, but they need your passport or originals for sure. um, I would highly recommend you to take all the originals. So what's the harm in taking the originals? It's better if we have any problems with your photocopies, you can even take there. So also, most of the British naturalization takes like usually between 3 to 4 months for the processing time. But the straightforward applications, which is very clear and have no problems at all, might take 2 months or maybe less than that. So it depends upon the each and every individual situation. But in most of the cases, if the documents are very clear, Home Office approves the application in 2 months. Complex applications might take 6 months, but it depends on the also the caseload of the Home Office. Final thing is the notification letter, where you will be getting from the Home Office informing your results, whether your application is successful or not. So that will be happening in like 7 to 8 weeks from the day of application. And then many people have questions like, can they travel after applying for the naturalization? So absolutely yes. So the applicant is permitted to travel in and out of UK while your naturalization being processed, because they don't have any originals. So that's the whole point of us getting you to the appointment, show the originals, and then scan all the documents. So they'll give you the passport to you, and then you can obviously travel in and out of UK whenever is required. I hope you like this video and find this video helpful to make your application. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. All the very best and good luck with your application.